Hi, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel and my podcast. My name is Aparna Sood, and today we have our guest with us. That is Alma Chopra. I would like to tell you a bit about her in the beginning. She is a working professional and an entrepreneur. She is in HR, marketing, so many things you'll be amazed to know. But today she's here to discuss self-healing with us, tell her the story that she has been through so far in her life. And I'm telling you, when you leave this podcast, you will learn a lot from her. Well, hello, Alma. How are you?
Hello, Aparna. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
It's a pleasure. It's literally a pleasure to have you. And thank you for your time. Would you like to tell our viewers a little bit about you?
My name is Alma Chopra. Thank you for the fabulous introduction. I am right now residing here in India. Born and brought up in the States, finished all my academics in the States, started my professional career in the States. I came here about 10 years ago under the guise of therapy and treatment. Didn't work out, but I'm going strong so far.
Well, as Alma just mentioned, therapy and treatment, we'll get into it a bit later on. But the topic we are going to touch today is self-healing, right? So Alma, I would like to know, what according to you is self-healing, and what does it take, for a person to heal themselves?
Well, I think the body heals itself. So really what you need is really time, which we definitely do not have these days. We're running from one thing to the other. We often hear the terminology, we're in the rat race, and we definitely all are stuck in that rat race, bringing up the kids, going to our jobs, making the money, making the homes, so we don't give ourselves enough time to do the self-healing, and which our body will do naturally if it's given the time and space.
So you mean to say the body actually itself adapts to it, but if you take care of it?
I think there's a video, I have a YouTube channel. There's a video I actually just came out with called The Cure You Possess. Actually, every organ in our body is renewed either every weekly, monthly, yearly. I mean, there's a time frame, right? And it doesn't happen overnight, but the body does renew itself. And if you give enough time and a conscious effort, you can change your condition, right?
Right. It's so interesting. It's again that nature nurture debate, as you said, yes, it's not about all that vibe that, okay, feel it, you'll heal it, but it's biological as well, that your body itself adapts to it and changes and heals itself if you allow it.
Yes, definitely. And
that makes sense. For so many people, when I talk to people about self-healing, the most common reaction I get is it's not that mythical context, feel it, you'll get it, but it's biology. That if you have right emotions, right vibrations in your body, it works, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's actually a very good beginning to know a bit about self-healing. But I guess if we discuss about your story, it will give the viewers a bit more perspective about it. You are a cerebral ataxia warrior. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. I can only imagine the journey you must have been through. It would be great if you can tell the viewers what cerebral ataxia is and also share your journey with us.
Okay, well, first, you're pronouncing it correctly. It is cerebral ataxia. So ataxia is a degenerative disease of the nervous system. Many of the symptoms of ataxia, and I have been ridiculed on this as well, our symptoms look as if we are drunk, right? Slurred speech, stumbling, falling, and the incoordination. So when we say cerebellar ataxia, our motor movements, the movements of our body, they're coordinated from this area in our brain, in our head, right? The base of the brain, right above the spinal cord. And if that's damaged, your coordination is affected of all your motor movements. Your speech is affected, your swallowing can be affected.
That's really tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really tough. So it's very hard to digest if you've never seen a person with ataxia or been with a person. Their movements, like I can make my movements, but the coordination, the timing, it'll take me longer to coordinate movements, and it's every movement. So whether it's eye muscle, whether it's neck muscle, whether it's tongue muscle, whether it's jaw muscle, whether it's leg muscle, every single muscle in your body the coordination is affected.
And if I'm right, you have been suffering from it for like 20 years and now you have recovered successfully.
No, actually, I've been suffering for over 2 decades. In the natural sense, I haven't recovered. There's no cure for ataxia. Right. There are treatments and there's medicine. So ataxia is a neurological condition, but it has different there are different types of ataxia. Most commonly, we know of Friedreich's ataxia, which is genetic, and most types of ataxia are genetic or caused by some kind of injury or some kind of head trauma. I was the lucky one to have sporadic cerebellar ataxia, so I have no etiology, nor does anyone know really how I'm going to end up.
Right. It must have, like, if you say 2 decades, so you must be really, really very young when you were actually diagnosed. So was the childhood really tough, different?
So I was diagnosed at the age of 10. Before the age of 10, I was very active, very social, gymnastics, soccer, baseball, wow. You name it, I was in it. I was a top runner, I was a top jumper. And then I was diagnosed at a very early age. I remember I used to do cartwheels, and I used to tumble on balance beams 4 feet off the ground. Right. And a couple of days after I was diagnosed, I was so shocked because I couldn't even do a somersault off of the baby beam, which was like an inch off the ground. So it vastly affected my my ability to stay straight very quickly. But I would say for the first 5 years that I was diagnosed, it was kind of invisible. So my symptoms were so slight, like bouncing on a beam. That's not something you do every day. But if you didn't really know me or look at me closely, you wouldn't really know something was wrong with me. So for the first 5 years, I think I was able to brush it off and say, oh, nothing is wrong with me. I think I was very headstrong as a child, very stubborn. And that actually proved to be very helpful in the long run, because that has helped me maintain whatever movement and coordination I have today. But for the first 5 years, I would actually not term it as the most difficult part of the years of me being diagnosed. They were kind of hard, but just running to doctors every week, or taking off from school, I kind of enjoyed it because I was like, oh, nothing is wrong with me. For me, it was just like, oh, hey, I get a day after school,
Right.
So
Feeling.
that was my attitude when I was first diagnosed. Then I'll take you through the timeline. The next set of 5 years. So at 15 was when I was, I started becoming very self-conscious. At that time, I became more reclusive, more introverted, and my symptoms became more noticeable. I had more like drastic falls. I remember I was climbing stairs in my school and 2 flights of stairs. And then all of a sudden I lost my balance and I fell backwards and I tumbled down all those stairs. So this was the time when I had a lot of falls. I was in high school. I became more reclusive at this point, more introverted. And I think at 16 years old, that was the time from 16 to I think like 23. That was the time when it hurt the most. I felt the most secluded. It was, I felt the most alone and the most hurt by my diagnosis at this point.
So did your confidence and self-esteem take a hit at that point of time? Like you could see people behaving different, maybe your friends?
So not really, because in school I didn't really tell anyone that I was diagnosed. When I graduated, so at the age of 17, I told 3 of my closest friends that I had a disability. But before that, I didn't really disclose to anyone that, hey, I'm different. I have a medical condition. So people unknowingly, not a lot, but I was bullied when I was in school because people didn't know, that there was an issue. And I didn't really want to disclose to anyone that there was an issue, because as a kid, you want to be similar, right? You want to assimilate. When you're a kid, people, especially when you're a kid, you tend to like stay away from things that are different and make fun of things that are different. And I knew this as a kid. This is why I didn't disclose my disability to anyone.
Sounds really tough.
Yeah, it was. And then, so we'll cycle on to the next 10 years. So at 20 years old, that my disability became very visible. This is when I started using walking aids and aids getting to class. And everyone knew there was an issue with her. So I had some problems and issues. But I was consumed with my academic work, so I didn't really, I didn't overburden myself, and I didn't ruminate about, oh, poor me. So I think that I hid behind my academics, basically.
So you
I became
in
a way, I think I did it consciously, because it was easier for me to focus on something tangible, which was my studies. And it's incidentally, I started soaring at my studies. I became a straight A student and I graduated with honors.
Wow. I'm sure your parents must be very proud.
I hope so, but I mean, you do the best you can. Right? I did what I did. You're a kid, you only do so much. What's your job as a kid? It's basically to study and do well in school, right? So that's what I focused on. And once I focused on this at age 15, that's when I became reclusive and secluded. And I started focusing on my studies more than what like my friends were doing or saying, because I didn't really hang out with them anymore. That's when my grades in school and in college, they spiked. Before that, I was not a very good student. I was more interested.
Positive here.
I'm sorry?
So we're looking at the positives that we drew out from this particular incident, is it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what you have to do, Aparna, right? You have to, if you wanna go on, if you wanna try to succeed, you have to draw out the positives.
So true.
So we can go on. So I think at the age of 30, that was when I accepted myself, and that's when I started able to live my life. Before it was, I'm disabled. Before it was trying to live for a cure, for a treatment, try to get better. Now, I think starting at the age of 30, I think it's more like, okay, this is who I am. How do I make the best of who I am? And what can I give to others, right? So I think the tables turned at the age of 30, and I'm still working on it, but it's instead of me running after the cure or the treatment that will make my life better. Now it's, okay, I have a disability, or I have a different ability. How am I going to now make life for others better? Yeah. How am I going to make society better, right? This is what I am. Now let me find the strength and the value in what I am and what I have.
So what brought about this change in you? Like something happened, you met somebody, you saw something that was it gradual or was it sudden? That, okay, enough is enough.
Right. I think it was very gradual. Fortunately, I have something in myself that never let me stop, right? I was, like I told you, as a kid, I was very strong-willed, determined, and that has ended up being one of my strongest suits. Right. Resilience, perseverance. I'm able to, like depression, anxiety. I think all of these things I was able to get through because of my resilience, because of the perseverance, because of the desire to want to see the next day, because of the desire to want to fall in love, because of the desire to do something. So I think because of that, I think I was able to overcome this different ability. And I think the support, namely my mother, definitely helped me. She always pushed me since day one. I think I would accredit maybe not 50%, but definitely 49% of what I am today to her. Because even when I was tired, when I was depressed, when I was angry, she would stick by me and say, Alma, no, get out of the house, go to the gym. You know, she would push me to an extent where if I hadn't been pushed, I definitely would have taken the easy route, and I wouldn't be as fired up as I am today.
Well, your mom sounds like a wonderful person, Alma. I'd like to speak to her someday. And to be honest, like you said a few things that are very interesting here, because as I understood, in the process of self-healing, I guess embracing the change is the key here, that you just need to accept it, like whatever it is. Do you feel that?
So I think that's two different things, right? So I'm now at a space where I've overcome my limitations, right? I can see above what my limitations are and live not because of them, live with them, right? And I can come on podcasts like yours, and I can tell people my story, which will touch them in some way, right? But I think in terms of self-healing, it can be some things like a tummy ache or a headache, you know, or like in my case, a chronic illness. Now, in terms of self-healing, the reason I say you just give your body time and space to heal, and it will do that itself. Because number one, scientifically, we know that all the bodily organs, they renew themselves whether it takes a year, whether it takes a decade, whether it takes 7 weeks, they all renew themselves, right? It's just a matter of having the positive outlook, right? Saying, I'm going to get better. I am better. The affirmations need to be there. Like, for example, in my case, I have a chronic illness and a lifetime illness. If every single day, if I give myself affirmations to my cerebellum that it's working fine, it's regenerated, or my spinal cord is working, or my nervous system has rehabilitated itself, I know I'll have 70% change. The reason I say that, Aparna, is because I have witnessed this change.
Right.
For a period of 6 months, I did meditation every single morning for 2 hours. And if you're familiar with yoga, Surya Namaskar, Sun Salutation, it consists of 12 steps,
right,
which require coordination, strength, and balance for all 12 steps, right? So during this period of 6 months, I was able to do the complete salutation by myself.
Wow.
So I have witnessed that healing which can occur to even gross things such as a medical condition, a chronic medical condition. So if you're looking to heal yourself from a tummy ache or a headache, it definitely is possible.
Wow. But does it ever comes to you like, why me? Because most of the people suffering out there, they are sometimes just grappled with the fact, why me? And they suffer.
Yes, definitely. I think that's definitely something that happens at the beginning stages. And that is the one question that propels negativity and depression again and again. You have to get out of this.
But
and the way
how?
The way I got out of it was, so number one, my first reaction formation, my first kind of shield was, my first shield actually was poetry. I used to vent all of my emotions in the poetry that I used to write. My next shield was academics. I used to drown myself in academics, and then first I used poetry as a shield. Yeah, I got out my emotions, like my sad emotions. Why me? I want whatever it was. No one loves me. How am I live this life? It's so hard to smile. Things like that.
Yeah.
But then, Aparna, when I started writing these poems, the positive feedback and the awards I won for writing the poems, that gives you a sense of confidence. So I continued writing until my mid-20s. Then it was my academics. So I told you, when I was a child, I was not a very strong child. I was an athletic child, a good jumper, a good runner, a good sprinter, but poor with academics. Once I drowned myself in the academics, I started getting A's on papers. I started getting A's on report cards. I got A's on my transcripts. And that's, makes you feel good, and that boosted my confidence.
Right.
So when you have a condition, let's say with me, such as myself, if you have a condition, if you say, oh, why me? I can't do it. I can't do this. That's not really helping any situation. You have to funnel your energies into something you can do, right? I didn't write poetry for the goal of getting awards. I wrote poetry. I wrote poetry for catharsis, right? To release my emotional anguish.
Wow.
And in turn, if you put your heart and soul in something good is going to come out. And that's what did it. And my confidence was boosted. Wow. When you have something else to think about, you don't have to think about why me?
So like keep yourself a bit consumed, find things where you can channelize your energy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think in my case, my diagnosis is life-changing. It was definitely shocking, life-altering to me and mostly to my family at that young age, because I didn't really understand. But yeah, if you keep thinking about, in my case, my diagnosis, what I can't do, why me, the people my age can run, they're already married, they already have families. If I keep thinking about that, of course I'm going to be depressed, right? But it's easy to say, if you have a condition, oh, why me? Why don't you try thinking about things you can do. Focus on everyone has something no one else has. It doesn't matter whether it's the same socioeconomic status, doesn't matter, same educational status, whatever it is, everyone on this planet has their own unique ability. Right. And you just have to find it and cultivate it. It took me about 25 years to find my ability to come out here and share my story with the world. But like for me, it was gradual, right? Poetry, academics, these are, I would say, saving graces, right? How I channeled my energy to cope with what I had.
Right. So like, it's really interesting because as you said that many people must be suffering at this minute, but you all are unique in your own ways. Take time, find it out. And I guess there's no time limit you can put on it that, oh, okay, I've given 1 month, enough is enough. I don't have anything. As you said, 25 years, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
it comes eventually.
It comes eventually, right? And as you said that you did this, you did that, and you tried to find ways, does society hinder the process of self-healing or supports the process of self-healing?
I would definitely be in the opinion that society hinders it, only because it is because of the pressures of society that we are in this rat race, that we go from meditation class right to going back home, to getting the kids ready, going to our job, then coming home, then making supper, making sure everything's on time, making sure the beds are cleaned, making sure the house is cleaned, making sure we have time to go out with our friends. It's like in the US, what people do is they take out time to go to their yoga class, right? Oh, I have class from 8 to 9. Okay, set my appointment for 9:15 because I can't make it at 9 because I'll be finishing my class right then. That goes against the principle of yoga and meditation, right? Meditation and yoga are not classes. They're not meant to be recreation. Yoga and meditation, that's a way of life, right? But right now, that's not the way we look at it.
That's so beautiful to be said. Yes, I agree. People are actually considering it as a thing to fit in their routine instead of trying to gain something out of it.
Exactly. Yes, it has become a fad, let's do hot yoga, let's do power yoga.
So true.
And yoga, what is the meaning of yoga? Yoga really means to unite with the essence, right? And
right.
That is far from what we are aiming to do as a society. Right. So when you ask me, does society help us heal? No, because for our bodies or our minds to heal, we just need time. But it's like meditation that healed me. Because why? Because I was able to seclude myself. I was able to literally get off of the radar, detach myself from really work and what I had to do and really any responsibilities. So it's hard, really hard, to make that detachment, but still our bodies can take the route of self-recovery.
Right. I guess when people these days talk about yoga and meditation, their eyes and mind are on the timers, their watch clocks that, okay, today 20 minutes done, today half an hour done. Nobody is actually looking at why they're doing it, instead of like, okay, that's done, part of my routine, I like it. So
Yeah.
I can actually see that in around me as well with many of my friends. So that makes sense. So according to you, society doesn't really help in your process of self-healing. It's you.
Yep, unfortunately not. It's all the person, all you. You can do it yourself, but you just need to give yourself, your body the time.
Yeah.
And you have to give it the proper environment, that positivity, right?
Right.
Because your thoughts are more than 50% of what your body is going to manifest.
Right. When you say like in the right environment, positivity, so it's really important. Like, do you think like in your condition and many people who are actually suffering maybe from many other things, family support, is that important? And does that help in this process of self-healing?
I think yes, support definitely helps. You need support to get along with getting to a goal at times. But that being said, it can't just be all support. You are going to make 75 to 80% of that effort. The positivity, the determination, that has to come from you. It has to come from within. I recently made a video about my support. What I said was, support is support, right? I definitely need support. I can't really walk without support, right? But support can only go as far as you have them go, right? It's like the neck and the head. Only if you turn your head, the neck will help you turn, right? But if you don't turn your head, the neck can't make your head turn, right? So you have to be the head. And you obviously the neck, you need a very sturdy neck, which means the support of your friends and family to get you to your goal.
Well, that's beautifully said, actually. And basically, as you said, 70% it's you. It has to come from within, because no matter if everyone is supporting you, if you are not in the mind frame to accept it or make full of it, it's of no use, is it?
Right. Yeah. So yeah. So that positivity, the affirmations, the goals, they got to come from you. Your support can be your support, but you got to direct it.
Wow.
What you want it to do for you.
Right. So Alma, now you're like, so successful. You turned around your life. You're happy. You're peaceful. So what are your plans next? What do you think you want to do with the life now? Not like repenting, or not like, oh, why me? It's new.
Well, I don't know. Every day is a battle for me still. I have health issues. So what I am today, what I am tomorrow is a culmination of my decisions from today or from yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of what I can do today. I'm very proud of what I am today. But tomorrow's, I still am what I am, but it's my health condition that sets me back or lets me move forward.
Right. I guess I read this at many places in your social media profiles as well, that I have conquered cerebral ataxia and now I'm conquering the world one day at a time.
Yeah, that's the plan. It might take me a little bit longer than what I planned, but that is my plan, one day at a time, to debunk the myths, to take out the negativity, the stereotypes from people with different abilities.
So do you think you found your purpose now, what you want to do?
Yes, I think my purpose from the very beginning, I knew I had a very, I was a very spiritual child, actually, innately. I didn't have any education on spirituality, but I always had an inkling, if you will, that I was here for a reason, and that I was here. Everyone's life makes a difference. Everyone is here for a reason. But at the age of like 12, 13, 14, I felt like there has to be a reason I'm like this. There's a reason for me. I always felt like I was, I don't know if you're spiritual, but I always termed it as an old soul. So if you believe in reincarnation,
I do.
I believe I've been on this planet many times before.
Right.
So, yeah, so,
Right. That makes sense. And to be honest, when you said like when you were 10 or 12, you were able to say that to yourself, that's huge. I mean, you had that mindset since like beginning that, okay, there's something else.
Yeah. So yeah, I always felt like I had a purpose, but I think for the past 2 decades, I was struggling with that purpose because personally, there are a lot of things that I went through. I went through shame, I went through guilt, I went through anger, I went through sadness. And I still go through them, not the guilt and shame so much anymore, but those are definitely negative emotions, if you will, that I felt. And
why guilt and shame?
I think especially when you're diagnosed at such a young age, to say, hey, you are non-genetic, you're medically different, right? So when I was diagnosed, to give an example, I was in the generation, if you will, the X-Men were very popular at that time. It just had come out, and the X-Men are, their genes are mutated, right? And they have special powers. So I remember one of the first doctors I went to was from the NIH, which is the National Institute of Health, a very prestigious organization in the US. And when he said, genetic and this and that, and it can be this and it can be that, but she probably has a mutated genome. Like, oh, cool, I'm an X-Men. I have special powers.
Right.
So, I think with that, not ideology, but with that terminology, because that's a relatively strong terminology that I started with. So if I had such a strong idea of like saying that I'm different because I'm an X-Men and I have special powers, that's not negative, right? That's very positive.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where my strength came from. I was able to, again, it took me over 20 years to do this, but turn negative situations into ultimately now a positive one. How can my condition help others with similar conditions, different conditions, or anyone really, right?
Right.
So I think my purpose, I'm trying to fulfill my purpose now.
And that's like telling people as well, telling your story and helping them to recover as well.
Yeah, and really, Aparna, I think I've said this before too, but affecting just one life means a life well lived. Right. I'm looking to affect not one, not two, but hundreds of lives.
I'm sure you will.
Thank you. And I know I can, or anyone with such a strong story. I have some assets with me because I was able to film my academics, and I have the ability to make my voice heard. So now I want to use my powers for good instead
true. So true. Time to use the powers for the right thing. That's brilliant. And Alma, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Would you like to give away a message to the viewers that if you are suffering, how you can self-heal and what can they take away from you, from your story?
Well, first, what you want to take away from my story, that's up to you. I'm here. I'm a living example of the body can heal, the body can do it. I'm a living example of really anyone can do it, right? With all the hurdles that have been put in front of me, I came out on the other side, in victory. But I think in terms of self-healing, it's that self-healing is not conscious. You can't make your body heal itself. The body knows what it needs. It knows what it wants. If you cut your finger and you want your body to heal, you want it to heal within a day. It's not going to. The body is going to take its own time. If you have an injury on your knee and your finger, you say, no, I want my body to heal my finger first. The body don't care what you want. The body knows what it needs, and the body will do what it needs to recover, right? So it's not conscious, it's subconscious. You just need to give the body the time, the space, and the environment, the atmosphere, which is positivity. It will happen, and it should happen.
Right. So basically, guys, you need to work on your mindset first. You need to want it in order to get it. And if you want to really heal, you need to have that want inside you and work on yourself. And thank you so much, Alma, for your time today and for your story. I'm so mesmerized, to be honest, because it's so good to see how a person can just come out of such a struggling life and so tough situations. And I'm sure there are many out there who would be suffering. And I hope this interview can help them in some way to stand up and say one day at a time.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Aparna. I hope I struck a chord with your listeners. And I hope I made a difference.
I'm sure you did. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And you can email us if you want to get connected, or you can just go to our website, drop your comments. We'll come up again with another episode very soon. Thank you.
Thanks.